She wanted somebody to protect her, and we couldn't protect her. We couldn't protect her. And then she went to the people that are supposed to do the protecting, and they couldn't protect her.
Beautiful 20-year-old Montasia Arrington was a joy to be around. She had a wonderful personality and was full of life. She was a mother to a 2-year-old who she loved and adored. Unfortunately, the father of her child was abusive and she was afraid of him. Tragically, her young life would be cut short after her baby's father would bail out of jail for assaulting her, then show up to her apartment, violating a protective order, where he would shoot her mother, then chase her down and shoot and kill her. How could he kill the mother of his child, and why wasn't there more protection for Montasia? Welcome to Viral Crimes. Subscribe and hit the bell icon for more stories. This story takes us to Littleton, North Carolina. 20-year-old Montasia Renee Arrington was always happy, smiling, and showing love to those around her.
Hey Z, hey Kente.
She graduated from Northwest Collegiate and Technical Academy in Littleton, North Carolina, with the class of 2019. Montasia loved cheerleading, and while in high school, she was a member of the cheer squad. She loved her family and friends and enjoyed bouncing around, laughing and playing. Montasia had a 2-year-old child, but was in an abusive relationship with the child's father, 23-year-old Jamazia Tillery. Tillery was a registered sex offender and was violent towards Montasia. When he was 16, Tillery was convicted on April 5, 2017, for felonious restraint of a minor and sexual battery of a victim who was 14 at the time. The offenses occurred on January 30, 2016. He received 30 months probation and was added to the sex offender registry on April 7, 2017, for a minimum period of 10 years. Montasia had been living with her mother, 48-year-old Teresa Arrington, and her child in an apartment in Littleton. During one of Tillery's visits to Montasia's apartment to see their child, Tillery lost his temper and physically assaulted Montasia. He stabbed Montasia with a knife. She managed to escape to a neighboring apartment where she called 911. Police arrived at the apartment and discovered Montasia had been cut with a knife and had additional injuries as a result of the attack. Tillery fled the apartment before the police arrived. A few minutes later, he was spotted in the same general vicinity and was arrested and placed in jail. At first, he was held in custody without the possibility of being released on bail. But later the judge set a $40,000 bond and he was able to bail out of jail. Sadly, this decision would have fatal consequences. Montasia was terrified of Tillery and obtained a domestic violence protective order against him. On Tuesday, April 19, 2022, shortly before 7 a.m., Littleton police received a call in which a young woman and her mother had been shot at an apartment on Little Drive off Ferguson Street. When they arrived at the residence, they discovered Montasia shot to death and her mother was shot and wounded. Tillery shot at Montasia from inside the apartment and then again when she fled outside. Her lifeless body was discovered outside. Montasia's mother, 48-year-old Teresa Arrington, was shot in the hip inside the apartment. She was taken to the hospital and then released. She was shot while trying to save her daughter from being killed. Tillery went on the run after the murder, and a manhunt was launched to locate him. He was wanted for felony murder, assault with a deadly weapon with intent to kill, firing into an occupied dwelling, and possession of a firearm by a felon. The United States Marshals Service Fugitive Task Force joined the Littleton police in its search for Tillery.
Now the news. A manhunt is underway in Halifax County. Authorities are looking for Jamazia Tillery.
Officers say he's accused of shooting and killing the mother of his child, Montasia Arrington. Just 2 weeks prior, Tillery was charged with stabbing her and then released on bond. In a story you'll only see on WRAL, Keenan Willard talks with Arrington's family and the judge who gave Tillery bond after the first assault.
In Littleton, day 3 of a search for 22-year-old Jamazia Tillery. The police chief says they're working with multiple agencies to find him, and they're not sure if he's still in the area.
At this point, you don't really know. So I would really like to see his picture put out there again. so that everybody, if they do see him, they can contact someone and let us know about it.
The reason for the manhunt? Police say on Tuesday, Tillery broke in the home of Montasia Arrington, the mother of his child. Police say Tillery shot and killed Arrington and wounded her mother before escaping.
She got shot trying to save Montasia. So, she pushed Montasia out the way and told her to run.
Arrington's grandmother says she was a kind and loving young woman. With Tillery on the loose, their family is living in fear.
He still has not been caught. And it's just terrible. It's terrible. I fear for my other granddaughters.
They also say this wasn't the first time Tillery threatened Arrington's life.
3 weeks ago, he came visiting the baby. He attacked her with a knife, and he cut her leg and her hand.
Tillery was arrested and charged with assault with a deadly weapon with intent to kill, as well as assault on a female. On April 4th, Arrington went before the court to ask them to keep Tillery in jail.
She was scared of him. She was scared of him, and she didn't want him to get out on bond. She didn't want him to have no bond. And so, because she feared for her life with him.
Court records appear to show Tillery was initially taken in with no bond, but it was modified. Judge W. Turner Stevenson gave Tillery a bond of $40,000 on the condition that he stayed away from Arrington and didn't carry a gun. Tillery bonded out the next day. 2 weeks later, he allegedly shot and killed Arrington.
We was under the impression that he wasn't getting a bond and that he was going to be locked up. This mama had a baby. She got a little boy that would never know his mom.
We got a phone number for the judge who set the bond, who tells us Tillery's records only said no bond at first because he was arrested on the weekend, and that doesn't get decided until an appearance before a judge.
He was really not charged with anything that he would have gotten no bond. We would have a jail with thousands of people in it if all the domestic cases stayed no bond.
Judge Stevenson said at the time he believed $40,000 was going to be enough to keep Tillery in jail.
I mean, in hindsight, sure, I would like to go back and he have no bond and still be in jail today, but I don't get the luxury of knowing what we know now when I'm setting a bond.
But Arrington's family says it was plain to see that Tillery posed a threat, and they feel the justice system failed her.
She wanted somebody to protect her, and we couldn't protect her. We couldn't protect her. And then she went to the people that are supposed to do the protecting, and they couldn't protect her.
Keenan Willard, WREL News, Halifax County.
Wow. I understand why a family would be just enraged.
On April 21st, Tillery was located and arrested. Police confirmed that Tillery's child, who is approximately 2 years old, is safe and living with other family members. He was found at a residence in Raleigh. The Littleton Police Department officers were able to locate him thanks to tips to the Roanoke Police Department and the Halifax County Sheriff's Office. He is currently being held in the Wake County Detention Center on no bond. What happened to Montasia was a tragedy. She was afraid of her baby's father and tried to get protection from the courts, but sadly, she wasn't protected. She should be here. And now a 2-year-old little boy is without his mother. My condolences to all of those who knew and loved Montasia. May you continue to heal and one day find peace. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video.